Purpose is Presence with Ausar Stewart, voice, speech, and communications coach. Ausar is one of Canada's leading voice and speech coaches, a certified Haith, Kemetic, and Lingard-based yoga instructor and Reiki practitioner. You can reach him at freeyourvoice.ca, and you can see I need some coaching too. But maybe you can come up and talk to us about Purpose is Presence.
Good evening. Is this a good height here? Can you hear me all right? Thank you. So purpose is presence. My name is Ausar Stewart. Ausar is an African Kemetic name. It means the unity of all things. Nuhotep means the way to heaven is through peace. Stewart is a good old-fashioned Scottish name, associated with many royal families, but in its simplest form, it means the steward of. So if you combine those elements together, my name means someone who was the steward of unity and peace. Now, I quite like that because it resonates with me, and it is how I feel I show up in my life. It connects to my purpose. Now, I was born on the beautiful island of Jamaica, and my parents immigrated here in the early 70s, fleeing the economic and political unrest that was enveloping Jamaica at the time, looking for a better life for themselves and for their children. I came here at about 5 years of age. One of my first memories is of walking into the kindergarten class and being told I couldn't stay because I didn't speak English well enough. They couldn't understand what I was saying. And I was devastated. It made a huge impact on me. And in that moment in time, I decided that never ever again would I be discriminated against based on how I spoke or did not speak the King or Queen's English. Today, I'm a voice coach, so that was a definitive moment in my life. I was raised in a very religious household. In fact, both my parents are Pentecostal ministers. So I was raised with the King James Version of the Bible, which is probably why I have such an affinity for language, Shakespeare in particular. More on that later. But the worship style in most Pentecostal churches, because that's the denomination I was raised in, both my parents are Pentecostal ministers, is lively to say the least, right? Perhaps even theatrical. And that may have set the foundation for my love affair with the theater presently. But witnessing my parents in action in that environment was quite something. Both my parents were very powerful speakers. My dad had his own unique style, my mom had her own style. He was sort of straight ahead, forceful, almost like a lion. And my mother had this wonderful combination of wit, charm, and power, which made her, to me, one of the most compelling speakers I've ever seen to this day. I learned from her that the ability to communicate comes from your sense of purpose and your convictions. Their power was connected to the fact that they were in alignment with their values and principles, their beliefs. When somebody's in alignment with their values and principles, their why, that gives them presence. We read that as somebody who's being in congruity with themselves. And we read that as integrity. It makes us trust them. That's why purpose is presence. So let's fast forward about 15 years. I'm about 21 now. I'm going to Algonquin College. I'm studying chemical engineering because I want to pursue a career in aviation. And in fact, I already completed my license. I learned how to fly gliders and I learned how to fly single-engine Cessnas. And that was the career path that I was on. November 7th, 1990, I'm coming up Celeron Boulevard in Ottawa, right by the OC Transpo building. First big snowfall, black ice. I'm with a friend of mine, we're coming up this bridge, and in front of us is a car that starts to lose control and spins out. My friend panics, jerks the wheel. His car spins out. Now, both cars are parked in the curb lane, facing the curb on the top of this bridge. The two women in the other vehicle looked a bit distressed, so I get out to see if I can help. As I start to reach towards them, this vehicle starts careening up the bridge at a very high speed. Now, I realize an accident's about to happen, so I try to get out of the way, but it's black ice, so I'm running on the spot. That vehicle hits their car spins, hits the tail end of the other vehicle, the front end clips me from the front, literally pulls me up out of my shoes, throws me up over the guardrail of this bridge. I land on the only patch of grass available to land on, no bigger than this stage. A few feet to the left was a stone embankment. You know when you have concrete embedded in stones, or stones embedded in concrete, you've seen that? A few feet to the right, a 40-foot drop to the train tracks. As I'm flying through the air, I have this weird sense of deja vu, like, this is not supposed to really happen. So I remember that I survived it, but I didn't know what shape I would be in. To make a long story short, I suffered a number of injuries. I was in the hospital for quite some time. And it changed the course of my life. Because up until that point, I wanted to be a pilot. But I realized that life can be over just like that, in the blink. So I asked myself, what is it I want to do? What am I here for? So I took stock. I knew a few things about myself. I knew I was a good communicator. And I knew I was good at putting myself in other people's shoes. I had a natural capacity for empathy. And I knew I was also a bit of a show-off, right? I liked attention, and still do, in small doses. Right? I'm actually more of an introvert than you might think. So with that information, I took some classes in my old high school. I took a singing class, and I took an acting class. Now, I wasn't interested in the theater at all in high school. I was a jock. I was basketball, soccer, volleyball. But something happened to me in that acting class. I remember being in the basement and watching two rank amateurs perform a scene. Now, I don't recall all the details of the scene, but I do recall that it was completely captivating. It just spirited away. And in that moment, I suddenly knew what I wanted to do. I wanted to be an actor. And I was thrilled because I was clear. And I said to my mom, Mom, I know what I want to do. I want to be an actor. And like most West Indian parents, she said, well, I don't know, right? Especially since I had this lawsuit pending that depended on me proving I had these injuries. So it didn't seem wise to be prancing around the stage in her mind. So she talked me out of it. At least for the time being. Okay. That led to me putting it aside for a little while, taking some classes at Ausar School of Speech and Drama. That went underground, that desire to communicate via theater. But as I look back, what was it that captivated me about that scene I was watching? Well, I think it has something to do with what captivated me about those Bible parables I listened to when I was growing up. Both had the opportunity to examine the small, complex subset of life. A little mini picture that you could gain some insight into. A scene is very much like a parable. So once again, there was this through line that was presenting itself. Now, fast forward about 10 years now, and I'm now 31 or 32, working at a bank here in Toronto. And the litigation has been going on for 10 years from this accident. And the money finally comes through. Now I have a choice to make, an opportunity. Do I stay working at the bank and try to climb the corporate ladder, or do I go after the big dream? Well, I chose to go after the big dream. And I was lucky enough to be admitted into the Master's in Theater program at York University. One of the best decisions I ever made. More on that later. Graduating from York, I was fortunate enough to get offered an apprenticeship at the Stratford Festival. You recall I mentioned I love Shakespeare. So here I am at Stratford now, and I have a chance to live the big dream. Well, things didn't go as well as I'd hoped. And I left a little bit disillusioned and upset. And I came back home to Toronto, and that energy was spewing all over my family life. You know, my wife and kids were suffering from that, and that wasn't fair. So I went back to a source that I had been exposed to in the past, and I signed up for an event called the Legacy Discovery Event. And this event was designed for men specifically to put you in contact with your purpose. Now, during one of the visualization exercises that we experienced, I found myself in a grove. And while I was in that grove, wave after wave after wave of my ancestors, it seemed to me, came and presented themselves. And they stood right in front of me. Men, women, children of all ages and sizes. And they said nothing. They were silent. But I knew what they were communicating to me. They were charging me with a responsibility. There was something I was supposed to do. There was a contribution I was supposed to make. Out of that visualization, I was able to put words to what I felt I was here to do. Encapsulate my purpose in a statement, in a sentence or a phrase. And here's what I wrote back in 2003. My purpose is to contribute to the evolution of humanity by inspiring others to seek out, discover, and live their life purpose in the service of humanity. Now, when I look back on that some years later, it still holds true for me. Whether I'm pursuing it as an actor, or as a voice coach, or as a yoga instructor. And in the short few years after that, I chose to focus that energy within the Black community, particularly on men, because I felt they had a contribution to make. Now, fast forward a few years to 2016, challenging year. And I realized that I'm being called to move outside of my comfort zone, that no longer am I only allowed to make a difference within the Black community. I need to actually expand my horizons and start to expand that purpose that was given back in 2003 to other communities. Because that's what it was said, to contribute to the evolution of humanity. So here I am now, trying to do that. My work as a voice coach is very much connected to this. What I do as a coach is try to help people come into alignment through their voice with their own why, with their own values and principles. When your voice is in congruity with your why, you have presence. Not only are you a good speaker, but you become a very compelling communicator, because you speak with your whole being. So I work with people who want that kind of power. They want that kind of facility in their life. They want to be able to communicate who and what they are, what they hold true, what their values and principles are. Now, anybody who steps up to that plate doesn't mean it's all going to be easy. I mean, we wish it could be easy. You know, remember that cartoon show called The Care Bears? Remember that show? Remember? Something like The Care Bears? Now, wouldn't it be easy? Wouldn't it be great if we could all just sort of stand out in the world and show our hearts and give our Care Bear stare and change everything? If only it were that easy. It isn't. But if you're in line with your values and principles, and your voice is connected to your why, that gives you presence. Now, if you think back on the stories I shared a little while ago, when I reflect back on it, not only was I pursuing my purpose through all those different events in my life, but purpose itself was always present. So thank you.
Cheers. Thank you. Any questions from the audience? I have a question. The question is, what was your first job ever?
First job ever, I think, was a paper route.
Which paper?
Oh, we delivered, remember Consumers Distributing Catalog? I think we distribute those catalogs.
Yeah, great store.
Yeah.
All right. And then who inspired you? And you went through the story, but was there one mentor or individual person that sort of inspired you to do what you do today?
Yeah, absolutely. His name is David Smuggler, and he's an internationally known voice coach and teacher. In fact, he's trained most of the voice coaches in this country. And back in 1996, David saw something in me that I didn't yet see myself. And he's the one responsible for me actually completing my MFA in theatre at York University, and then later on pursuing what he does as a voice coach. He's been a huge mentor to me and many other people.
All right. All right. Any question? Shannon?
Yes, I have a question. How long have you been in business, and what's your client base like?
That is an excellent question, Shannon. We should talk afterwards, because I'm still formulating that. You know, the work that I do, I think I'm encapsulating it in 4 ways: the professional's voice, the leader's voice, the artist's voice, and the healer's voice. And the work that I do can be tailored to each one of those 4 specific areas to meet their unique needs. In fact, I'd love for somebody to come up and do a little impromptu coaching if they're willing. Is anybody willing to come up here and do a little coaching with me? Ah, okay, terrific. A trained voice. Are we good with that?
Yeah, sure. For a minute or two.
For a minute or two?
Yeah, go for it.
So, remind me how you say your name again?
Zandria.
Zandria. You sang beautifully. You have a beautiful voice.
Thank you.
Now, what I noticed about Zandria is that she has a wonderful presence. Would you agree?
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful presence. Now, what I find in teaching, I teach at the Randolph Academy for Performing Arts, and a lot of singers, sometimes are shy speakers. Dancers have the hardest time because their bodies are trained differently. Right? But singers need to find a way to translate what they do vocally over into the speaking world. Let's see if we can work with Zandria on that. Okay. So, you told me a little bit about why you love singing and what your passion is. Could you share that with the audience?
Okay. So why I love singing is just because music has actually helped me through a lot of hard times and has taken me through good times, hard times, as well as emotional times. And for some reason, it makes me feel whole. And I actually study different artists to actually figure out what their story is. So that's why I love music and why I pursue it. And what was the second question?
That's right.
Oh.
That's great. So, where do you feel your breath when you say that?
Oh, I didn't feel it at all.
You didn't feel it at all. Right. Okay. That's quite common with singers. Right? Okay. So, I love the way that you present yourself. What I'm going to invite you to do is to see if you can maybe just take your feet a little wider apart, right about there. That's good. And drop your hands at your sides. Does that feel comfortable? Does it? Okay. Good. Okay. So, when you hold a long, sustained vowel note as you're singing, where do you breathe from?
Here.
Okay, see that. Go ahead.
So just sing.
Yeah, just sing out open vowels. Lovely. Okay. Now, I'm going to invite you to see if you can allow your pelvic floor, the muscles here, to just drop down. Okay? You can try that for me. Makes a difference. Makes a difference, doesn't it?
Yes.
Heard that? Did you hear that?
Yeah.
Okay, now, I'm not a singing teacher, I'm a voice teacher, right? But already you can hear the difference. Okay? Now I'm just going to ask you to say your first and last name and give us one sentence about what you love to say.
So hi, my name is Andrew Joseph, and I love to sing because music is awesome.
Great. Come on back. I'm going to ask you to say that again and see if you can become aware of the space behind your body. Okay? Because you sing and you focus on your presentation, a lot of your energy is focused on the front of your body. Okay, you feel that? Yes? So let's see if you can bring some awareness to the back of your body and make that statement once again.
Okay. So hi, my name is Andrew Joseph, and I like music because it is awesome.
Good, still front of the body. So let's see if you can connect your heels, right? So these bones here at the back of your head and skull. Yes, there you go. That's it, good. Okay. Now once again, your name.
So hi, my name is Andrew Joseph, and I like singing because it is awesome.
Great. Hearing the difference?
Yes.
Now allow these muscles of your ribs to also contribute to the use of that breath. Yes,
Oh,
there you go.
okay.
There you go, right? Open up the back ribs. Aha.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Now let the jaw soften a little bit. Good. And once again, that same statement.
So hi, my name is Sandra Joseph, and I like music because it's awesome.
Fantastic. Are you all hearing a difference out there?
I do.
Yes?
Yes.
Okay.
Good.
Now, let's see if we can make that same statement land in somebody's lap out there. Okay? Like a bomb. Boom! Landed right in your lap. Okay?
Okay. Hi, my name is Sandra Joseph, and I like music because it's awesome.
You can take your time. Okay?
That's true.
So you can take your time. It's more like a log. Okay?
Try it again.
Yeah.
Hi, my name is Sandra Joseph.
Don't lose the work. Don't lose the back of your heels, the back of head and skull, ribs, pelvic floor. Yes, there you go.
Hi, my name is Sandra Joseph, and I like music because it's awesome.
Cool. Thank you. Well
Good.
done.
That was great. Well done.
Thanks very much.
My pleasure.
Cheers.
Thank you.